Several Caribbean countries will be having elections this year, so how will the incumbents fare? Or will the opposition parties make a surge to power? This was the issue explored in the latest edition of Newsline 360, a news and current affairs program on TVC Channel 40. Jamaica's election is constitutionally due by September 2025, and for political analyst Peter Wickham, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is facing a battle of integrity.
Ultimately, the way that this thing is set up that he has to answer questions that are presented to him, and he has to answer them comprehensively. My sense, though, if I look at the thing globally, that would not be the reason that he would lose an election. My feeling is that the bigger issue is the cost of living in Jamaica, which was Biden's undoing, and the undoing of several other leaders in the Caribbean that have gone to the polls in recent times. Leaders in the world that have gone to the polls in recent times. My sense is that that is a bigger factor now than questions of his integrity. And I've always argued that my polling in the Caribbean has suggested that matters of personal integrity in relation to leadership is not a big ticket item in Caribbean.
In Trinidad and Tobago, their election is also due this year by the summer, and Mr. Wickham commended outgoing Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. Dr. Rowley resigned as leader of the PNM and has named Government Minister Stuart Young as his successor for Prime Minister.
So if you look at the fact that Keith Rowley was in politics from the days of Eric Williams, he was one of the few people who retained the seat when they had that massive 36-3 swing in Trinidad and Tobago. He maintained his seat. He has represented his constituency from then until now. He was one that when the government lost under Patrick Manning, he was vilified. He moved into the opposition benches, and he was easily elected as leader when Patrick Manning failed to assume the leadership of failed to win the election. And subsequently, he has served 2 terms. So he's won 2 elections. The last one, the feeling was that it was a near miss, and there was an exhaustion where he was concerned. I think he is correct in reading the tea leaves and saying, this is a good point in which he should exit politics because there's an exhaustion with him. I think there's also an exhaustion with Kamala Persad-Bissessor.
Meanwhile, in Guyana, Mr. Wickham believes President Irfan Ali is in a strong position heading into the elections.
I can't imagine a leader wanting to have it better than him. Look, his challenge that he has right now is the fact that people think that the cost of living in Guyana is too high. And that is entirely normal because as the economy grows, you have the age-old economic question of inflation. So inflation is problematic. And guess what? He's saying, well, I'm going to speak to inflation by giving every single householder, $1,000 to put in their electronic account, which helps to solve that problem. Of course, that has the potential to be inflationary as well. But, it's going to make a whole lot of people happy. And I think that he's well placed.
Another country due for elections this year is St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves plans to contest for a historic 6th term in office.
The challenges that I face as an analyst, and this has nothing to do with my polling, is that you normally look at the history of the region. The history of the region stops at 4. And there is no person prior to Ralph Gonsalves that has been able to win 5 consecutive elections. So technically speaking, he should have been skating on thin ice on the last election, and he won it. Certainly, when you're looking at 6 elections, again, there's very thin ice that he's skating on to be able to win a 6th election, but he's going to run. And there's a distinct possibility that he will win. After you look at 2 elections, invariably in the Caribbean, it has everything to do with the opposition.
The full show can be watched on a Television Caribbean TVC Channel 40 YouTube channel or the TVC website www.tvcplus.live and clicking on TV shows. Andre Huey, SKN at Newsline.